Here's more audio sound bites from the National Council for a New America town hall meeting. There was an unidentified guy in the audience, and he had this exchange with Jeb Bush.
Kind of to disagree with what you said, Governor Bush, I really think the past is important. It is surprising that Barack Obama was elected and he goes around apologizing in every country he goes to when people are spoon-fed years in high school and college of anti-American history. I mean, quite honestly, I think people learn more from listening to Rush Limbaugh's show than they do in high school and college.
The context that I was talking about, the past, was really candidates running for office that have kind of a nostalgic view of the world. That's a perilous thing, and I think to President Obama, candidate Obama's credit, he waged a 2008 campaign that was relevant for people's aspirations, whether you agreed with them or not. It was not a look back, it was a look forward, and so our ideas need to be forward-looking and relevant. I felt like there was a lot of nostalgia for the good old days in the messaging, and, you know, it's great, but it doesn't draw people towards your cause.
Who in the world is he talking about? Where was the nostalgia in our campaign for the good old days? And where was the good old days messaging in our campaign? Well, I don't think he is talking about McCain. No. Something else you have to understand, these people hate Palin, too. They despise Sarah Palin. They fear Sarah Palin. They don't like her either. She's, according to them, she's embarrassing. McCain said, I was there with Ronald Reagan. But it was a pretender. McCain didn't pull it off with any conviction. I mean, no Reagan voter ever understood or ever was made to believe that McCain was, too. No Reagan voter ever believed McCain was a Reaganite. I think, and look, there are a couple more sound bites coming up, time constraints here, but a lot of this is aimed at Sarah Palin. When you strip all the talk, it's the Reagan era is over, and we got to stop all this nostalgia and stuff. Clearly, in last year's campaign, the most prominent, articulate voice for standard, run-of-the-mill, good old-fashioned American conservatism was Sarah Palin. Now, everybody on this Speak to America tour has presidential perspirations. Mitt Romney's out there. He wants to be president again. Jeb may someday. Eric Cantor, some of the others, McCain, I don't think he does, but you never know. So this is an early campaign event, 2012 presidential campaign, primary campaign, with everybody there but Sarah Palin. So if you talk about who looked back in the past, I disagree with Jeb again. Obama looked back to the past every time he made a speech. He ripped it to shreds and then promised something brand new, hope and change without any specifics whatsoever. This need to praise Obama, too, that kind of leaves me a little wanting. But I've got to take a break. Jeb is the focus because of the newspaper headlines, but it's not just Jeb. There's a whole movement in the Republican Party that does want you to forget Ronald Reagan. And Snerdley asked me during the break, what was your question to me? How can they be so blind to ignore what the Republican Party's successes were with Reagan? They're not blind. They are threatened. The simplest way to understand the recalcitrant Republicans and conservatives who seem obsessed with forgetting the past and letting go of this so-called nostalgia. These are people that are threatened with that. They're threatened that somebody might surface, or maybe has, that can advance and articulate those issues. That would lead to landslide victory. But these people that say, leave the era of Reagan alone, leave it behind, this is said by people who don't believe in conservatism. They believe in something else, but they can't really explain it. But I'm just telling you, when they look at the past and see landslide presidential victories and don't want to do what it takes to do it again, that's not a refutation of Reagan. That's not saying screw Reagan. That is, we don't want those issues. We don't want to win with those issues. And we don't want a candidate that's going to win with those issues, so they're dumping on Sarah Palin. Okay, a couple more sound bites from the, No, I guess we have no more soundbites. This from the Republican tour. This is last night on CNN State of the Union. They talked to Eric Cantor and Mitt Romney, John King, the host. Congressman Cantor, as you launch this effort, the Republican listening tour, anyone who picks up Time magazine this week and sees the 100 most influential people will see two Republicans in that magazine. They will see Sarah Palin and Rush Limbaugh. Is that helpful, hurtful, or indifferent?
They are two individuals that have a lot of ideas, and our party should be about ideas. I know that there are some who like to make it all about personalities, but it's about ideas. It's about how we take this country forward.
Now, this is a classic example of why I don't go on these shows. The premise of the question, the whole premise of these guys appearing, and I understand that they made news by going out and starting a listening tour and saying the Republican Party's got to do X, the Republican Party has to change, so they're opening the door for this kind of stuff. But I can't recall watching a television show ever like this, where after a list of influential people came out, some Democrat was asked, is it hurtful or harmful or whatever that Michael Moore is on the list? Is it hurtful or harmful that Tim Geithner, who cheated on his taxes, is now the Treasury Secretary? You just don't hear Democrats asked these questions. And these questions are loaded from the beginning, and they establish a premise, which is to put Republicans on the defensive. And the premise of the question is that there's a defect and a flaw with Republicanism anyway. Now, Mitt Romney was also asked the same question. As you launch this Speak to America tour, anybody who picks up Time magazine this week, and let's face it, fewer and fewer people are picking up Time magazine. More and more, Time magazine, Newsweek, U.S. News, they're written for other journalists. Their audience is other journalists, drive-bys inside the Beltway. Okay, so Time's 100 list is out, as though it's infallible. I know Time's 100 most influential people list in the world. We wouldn't question anybody on this list, and they've only got two Republicans. They only have two Republicans. There are only two Republicans of worldwide influence. Sarah Palin and Rush Limbaugh. What do you think of that? Is it hurtful? Is it helpful? What is it? And is it indifferent? And here's what Romney said.
I think there are a lot more influential Republicans than that would suggest. But was that the issue on the most beautiful people or the most influential people? I'm not sure. If it's the most beautiful, I understand. We're not real cute.
That's a dig at Sarah Palin. I'm sorry. It's a dig at Sarah. Most influential or most beautiful? I don't care if they dig me, folks. I'm not running for office. I'm not really competing with these people. They're trying to get votes. I've never tried to get a vote in my life. Let's go to the